Hi, my name's Vanessa Vallely and welcome to One Tech World. I am absolutely delighted to be interviewing Yemurai, aka STEM Babe, for this in-person conversation about careers. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's a delight to have you. So obviously, I've been watching you on Instagram. I think you're absolutely amazing. You've got this incredible following and you're encouraging more women into tech careers, which is much needed. So I'm interested in you.
Yes.
So to take us back to the beginning and share how you first got into tech. So I'm interested in your career story and how that journey has evolved into becoming an influencer, encouraging other women into the industry.
Interesting. So I started off my journey into tech after finishing my chemistry degree because I realized that at the end of my degree, I didn't want to work in a lab. I didn't want to do postgraduate medicine. And quite frankly, university just sucks the energy out of chemistry from me. So I was like, I just need to leave this industry. And then a tweet changed my life. So there's a lady called Yasmin. She tweeted she earned 6 figures in tech, and she was complaining that in comparison to her male colleagues, she wasn't earning as much. And I was like, those are the problems that I want to have.
Yeah.
And so I decided, you know what, let me explore this tech thing. So what I ended up doing was I upskilled in tech. So there was like a free cloud computing boot camp, completed that, and then landed a role at a health tech startup. So at the health tech startup, I was learning about the applications of technology within the sciences. So it was like an interdisciplinary role that sat between chemistry and technology. So I saw how technology was changing my industry and my space. And money aside, that experience made me realize that, wow, this technology has the power to impact people's lives.
Yep.
And I have a role that's allowing me to use my chemistry knowledge and technology skill set to find ways to detect for coronavirus. And that was for me like, yeah, this tech thing is going to change the world in ways we couldn't imagine. So then after that, my time at the startup was short-lived. So I was stacking shelves in Sainsbury's, which was actually a really good opportunity for me to clear my head, develop really strong soft skills, speaking to customers, and conversing with the everyday people. So that gave me a bit of time and clarity. But I was also kind of stuck in a rut, like, what am I going to do? Did I make the right decision of getting into tech? Because I'm just here with no idea of where I'm going to end up. So then there was a recruitment event with Coding Black Females and one of the financial services. And I was like, not really sure, but let me just go and attend and see what happens. So then at the recruitment event, the hiring managers were talking about the various roles that they did. And one manager was talking about cybersecurity. And I remember being like, this sounds really interesting. I don't have the technical skill set of cyber per se. And I didn't think I'd have a good role in cyber. I just didn't see cybersecurity being for me. But the reason why I applied is because the work sounded interesting. But more specifically, I felt like I liked the hiring manager. I could get on really well with him and I could grow within his team. So it was more so of the compatibility aspect of working in that role more than the role itself, even though it did sound interesting. So I just applied for BANS and hoped for the best. But remember, I still had the transferable skills from the technical stuff that I'd learned and chemistry, like you're a hard worker, right? So I'm used to intellectually challenging environments. So I said, let me apply, highlight my transferable skills, learn about cyber. Didn't really think anything of it. Then I got invited for an interview and one thing led to another. And here I am in the industry 4 years later, I guess. So that journey from being a chemistry graduate to cybersecurity took 1.5 years. And I think this year is going to be my 5-year anniversary in cybersecurity.
Amazing. And do you like it now?
I love it. I'm so happy to be in this industry.
I actually think cyber is one of the most exciting parts of the industry.
100%.
And obviously becoming more and more prevalent, as the sophistication of threats, that we're likely to see. So you've built a hugely powerful platform that reaches women at the very start of their career.
Yes.
So I love that. You're almost like paying it forward. What are the biggest myths or fears that you still hear from women in terms of how they think about working in the tech industry?
Yeah, so obviously I have a social media platform, STEM Babe, and the platform is to showcase roles within the industry, demystify any, things that people have about the industry and encourage people to get in, as well as being a visible representation of women and Black women succeeding in this space. The funny thing is, the people who approach me the most are career changers who want to get into the industry. And I find they have the biggest fears and misconceptions about the industry as compared to career starters. And I think the thing is because their experience of working in corporate in their respective industry, maybe the problems and the challenges they faced, they're scared that if they pivot into technology, they're going to encounter a new set of challenges, a new set of problems, and they're afraid of going through that experience if they're to change industry.
Yep.
The second thing I would say is that some of them feel like they're too old.
Yeah.
They want to change careers, but they're like, oh, I'm too old. Are they going to pick me? And I'd say the third thing is not understanding their transferable skills and how that sits in the tech space. So a lot of these experienced working professionals, who are the majority of the people who reach out to me to get into tech, they've got strong transferable skills, and they feel as though they have to start again their career from scratch, entry level, and rewrite their career journey.
Yeah.
But what they don't realize is the transferable skills that they have and where that sits within the tech space and how to make a lateral move into the industry, then neglect all of the years of experience that they've built up. So that's what I would say are the majority of people who are asking me to change into tech, right? Now, from a career starter perspective, one of the biggest fears I see is that social media has made it seem like getting into tech is an easy journey.
Yep.
You do a boot camp, you get in 6 months, you've got a job. But the reality is it takes a year or a year and a half. In my instance, it took a year and a half. And if they don't get into tech in that short timeline, they fear that, oh, tech isn't for me, or because I didn't get in or have a quick route into the industry, there's no point. Let me stick to what I have. So it's that resiliency of keeping on trying to get into the tech industry without necessarily giving up within a short time frame. The second thing I would say is career confusion. So a lot of career starters, they have no idea where to get in within the industry. It's a bit like, I want to get into healthcare. Healthcare could be nursing, doctor, radiologist. When it comes to tech, people are like, I want to get into tech, which I think is a dangerous statement because tech is so broad. You could work in data, you work in cyber, and even in those disciplines, there's other roles that sit within that.
Yeah.
So a lack of career clarity is confusing people and making them feel overwhelmed because they don't even know where to begin with, which means that they can't even start their learning journey to get into the industry.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other thing is women within the industry in terms of at the different stages of their career, because I guess the career starters are online, they're on social media. I got into tech and I've been working in tech, but you're not necessarily seeing visibility of women at different stages of their career online be visible and sharing their resources. So they might not necessarily be able to see their career progression within the industry. They're like, okay, I'm going to get into tech. I might get an analyst role, associate role, but I haven't seen visibility of women in senior positions or C-suite positions. So wanting to get into the industry, they might think they're going to be stunted in their career growth, and there isn't much growth in that aspect. And then another point I would make is recently I had someone ask, is it a suitable place for neurodivergent talent?
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is an interesting conversation because there are roles within tech that are suitable for neurodivergent talent, but I feel like we haven't had those conversations regarding what does neurodivergency look like within the tech space. So how do we advocate for tech for women, but also for neurodivergent talent? And what roles in tech make sense for them based on their background where they can really flourish and thrive?
Yeah, absolutely. Tech for all.
Exactly.
I think it was really interesting what you said around this career confusion, because I don't necessarily think that just starts in the beginning of your career. You know, sometimes when you have, things go on in your life, then, especially you talked about older women, so I can come at it from that perspective. You do have that piece around, okay, what does I've got 20 more years to give, I've got 30 more years to give, and I want to pivot into tech, and what does that actually kind of look like? So that's a really interesting one. I mean, we know that we need more women in tech, right? 20% in our industry. So it's all of these different individuals that we need to consider their careers in tech.
100%.
And I think, just to interject, there is a report that just recently come out from the City of London around pivoting to tech. And we're saying, okay, there's lots of people that potentially will be made redundant in the future because of AI.
Redundancy is one of the
Why are we not reskilling, you know, and, you know, plugging some of that big digital skills gap that we've got in the country. So it's really interesting what you're saying about those. There's so many that the people that reach out to you most are in fact the pivoters, right? The people that want to get into tech. But also what was really interesting is you said it's not always as easy as sometimes people on social media
100%.
make it look. So, I mean, we both know, right, technology is evolving at such a fast pace, especially as I've just mentioned, AI becoming part of everyday work. How do you think that's changing how women view tech careers, and what excites them and what worries them the most?
Yeah, I think with the rise of AI, women are considering, is it even worth me getting into technology anymore?
Yep.
Because if I learn this set of skills, will I get a job? And even if I do get a job, will I be made redundant?
Yep.
So career stability is a thing that's holding women back from wanting to get into the industry. And that's where they might default to traditional careers where there is some sort of career stability. But I would say there's actually opportunity in the AI era for other roles outside of tech. And what I mean by that is if you work in healthcare, technology is being embodied within the healthcare system. So if you're a nurse, you could become a digital nurse. And I think roles are being rewritten, which now means that there's opportunity in the role that you do, in the industry that you do, to incorporate AI. And you're at a competitive advantage because you have knowledge of your industry. So you would understand how to integrate AI into your role better than someone who's traditionally just a software engineer. So I think it's redefining what careers look like, both technical and non-technical, and it's creating interdisciplinary roles. And also I think now there's so many different entry routes into the industry outside of the traditional approach, and organizations are now looking at ways of how we can reskill talent and ensure that how do we leverage the talent that we already have to be AI efficient and use AI within their everyday roles and be contributors towards the usage of AI within their organization. And I say this because there's an AI fellowship in healthcare where they're inviting pharmacists, nurses, and doctors to bring their lived experiences within the healthcare space and help the tech industry understand what is the best way to incorporate AI within their day-to-day role. And I think that's where women could be at the front of, I've been in this industry for 15 years. These are the challenges that we have. This is how we could use AI to improve our industry.
Yeah. Do you know what? Such a valid point, because you've built up all of this knowledge in your industry. Now it's just another tool, really, isn't it? So I think for the people watching, don't discount, you know, yourself out just because this AI, you know, it's breathing down our necks and stuff like that. So visibility plays such a huge role in terms of confidence and ambition. How do you think people seeing like women like you online can change the perception of what it's like to work in tech? And also the types of roles that they think might be possible for them.
Going back to that tweet that changed my life. That tweet from a Black woman from South London talking about earning 6 figures in tech, but also having a senior role within tech. I was like, that is amazing. I think different people can say the same message, but it lands differently depending on who had said it. If it wasn't a Black woman or a woman who had said that, I would have been like, oh, that's for the men. Like, I can't do that. But her saying it and talking about her career success and how she's progressed, not just getting into the industry, but how she's progressed, was a game changer. And one thing that she did was she shared her DevOps journey. So this is how did I get to this position? I learned this, I did this, I worked at this organization. So visibility of her career journey and the steps she made it all the more real. Like, instead of can I do this, I can do this, and this is how I can do it. This is just from a tweet. So now imagine being on social media and seeing that visual representation of someone talking about it, who looks like you, who talks like you, has your same mannerisms, you know, embodying working in tech. it's a game changer because it helps to demystify any misconceptions that people have about the industry. So like when I worked in cyber, there wasn't that much representation of women in the industry. So that's why I was kind of reluctant to go into the industry, because I was like, oh, I don't know if I fit. And that's why I use my social media page to tell people like, hey, I work in cybersecurity and I love it. And it's not what you think it is. There's so many different branches into cybersecurity, but we need to leverage social media to increase visibility of these opportunities and these conversations, as well as being in person. So visibility isn't just, being online, but going into schools, talking to the young people, going into the spaces where these women are and bringing it to them, sharing these conversations. And the impact my visibility has had has been, funnily enough, my parents, they have a huge influence in my career. Well, they did have a huge influence in my career, but again, they're from African heritage. They're going to push for careers where they know that there's a better likelihood that you, as an African child, will have a stable job and a career. So when I actually pivoted into tech, they were like, oh, we're not sure. We don't think, not because they didn't think I could do it, but it's just because they didn't have visibility of women who were in the industry and doing well, right? So even for parents who are large influencers of a child's career, visibility of them, of women in the industry doing well, can help push that narrative further and encourage them to support their children on that journey. So that visibility of me fighting against the odds in front of my parents and the Zimbabwean community, right? It's true though, it's true. My parents are now like, do STEM. To my younger siblings, they're literally like, you can do whatever. So I had to break through the cultural stereotype as well as the gender stereotypes. And just being that visual representative has, I believe, not just impacted like people who watch my social media page, but people in my community as well.
Yeah. Do you know, it's so interesting, so many things that you said there, because that first lady, do we know who she is?
Yasmin.
Okay. Yeah. She's a role model, right? She's put herself out there and she's inspired someone like you who's gone on to create this wonderful community and have such impact. So just that one woman, and then you've paid that forward, and then you're going on to do that. And then other people probably watching you, and then they've started to share their stories as well. And it's that beautiful cascade of, I think, women supporting women, but also growing the tech industry. And you talked about stereotypes and things like that. One of the first things, can we just bust a myth here that we don't need a computer science degree
100%.
to be in tech, right? Because that one comes up all the time. And I think it's really interesting. Your parents must be so proud of you, right?
I'm on their WhatsApp statuses now.
I love that. I love that. And then obviously encouraging siblings and things like that. So, it's the gift that kind of keeps giving. I love that story.
And I think,
go on.
Visibility at different stages of the career is really important as well.
It is, yeah.
Because it's one thing getting into the industry, but being able to see, now that I'm in the industry, I need visibility of women who are further in their career. Who are CISOs, who are C-suites, who are VPs, so then I can see how my career will progress. So I think we need visibility of women in different stages of their career so that they can see that career progression, not just necessarily from an entry-level perspective.
And you know what's so lovely? I mean, I hang out with a lot of those kind of C-suite women in tech. They want to help you. They want to be able to tell their stories and hand down those little nuggets of wisdom so that you don't have to tread some of them, perhaps the difficult paths that they've treaded. So this is what's lovely, as I say, that big ecosystem of us all helping each other. But I think you're right, we need more visibility of those women in senior roles. Imagine how many more Yemurais they could inspire and the impact that we could have. So let's go back to AI. So many women's first interaction through AI is ChatGPT. So we've seen in recent studies that women are slow to adopt the use of AI, and when they are using it, they're using it for things like ChatGPT and stuff like that. So from my perspective, we're at a level playing field, right, with men when it comes to AI. How do we get women under the bonnet with AI to kind of start to look at the broader things that can be done as opposed to just using it as an assistant?
Yeah, I think the conversation around AI has, from it being more than just like help me plan a 5-day trip to Spain, is mostly within organizations and how they can grow their business and their revenue. So we're not contextualizing AI and how it's being used for the everyday person. And that means it's becoming unrelatable, and we don't see a vision bigger than plan a 5-day trip to Spain, as an example.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is share more case studies and contextualize usage of AI that's relatable to that person in their everyday life, which we don't have much conversation about. It's mostly like how we can increase sales and data and analytics, which seems unrelatable and kind of off-putting. And I think the technical jargon that's out there is really off-putting for women to even explore to begin with. So one of the things that I like and that I'm seeing is that a lot of these big companies are now hosting workshops. So AWS Cloud Women are having an AI agent workshop, encouraging women to come to their offices and engage with other women on how they can leverage AI and how to use it. So having those spaces where women can learn with other women in person, ask those questions, is empowering for them to understand, how do I use this AI and what does that mean for me on a day-to-day? So another thing that I went to was I was invited by Google to attend AI's usage in education. Prior to that event, I would have maybe just been like, oh, help me summarize this academic text, right? But that event opened my eyes and I was like, oh my gosh, I never knew that this is the levels to which I could use AI to help me with my studies. So much so that it was through that in-person workshop experience with others that it gave me ideas on how I could extend my learning experience outside of summarizing a report, as an example, because they were teaching us, okay, this tool helps you do this tool helps you do that. We set you up with some challenges, and then we shared like our proof of concept, minimal viable product with other people, and then that gave us ideas. So as part of the upskilling through these in-person workshops geared towards women, you in those environments, you're now sharing ideas. Like, oh, I'm using AI to do this. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think of using AI to do that. That's a great idea. And now you're exchanging ideas between women on how they use AI. And then that can help empower them in understanding how they can use it in their own lives.
And I mean, there are so many tools out there, but I think you're quite right. Unless you've got a reason to consider, oh, I need a tool for this, or to bring that into your working life, there is no context of what you're doing. So you're quite right. In that hackathon kind of environment, sharing of ideas, sharing of who's using what tools for what, it kind of brings it more to life, doesn't it? Fantastic. So obviously through your platforms, because you're on YouTube as well, aren't you?
Instagram, so TikTok,
tune into YouTube as well. You work with women at different stages of their career. This is my kind of final question. What practical advice would you give to someone, and this is the big word of the moment, that wants to future-proof their career in tech, but doesn't necessarily see themselves as technical?
They want to. Okay, so one thing I advocate for is attending industry events. For a number of different reasons. You gain commercial awareness of what's happening in your industry, but you can also see where the industry is going and where you may need to upskill in. If you're outside of those industry conversations, you don't really know what's going on and what are the challenges that organizations are facing and that they need support for. The second thing with industry events is that it's an opportunity to network and connect with other people. And networking is so important for two reasons. Number one, it allows you to understand what work are other people doing that could be of interest to you and that you could pivot into, but they can act as future points of contact when it comes to referrals. So you meet this person and they're like, oh yeah, hi, how are you doing? I work for this company. You're like, oh, what do you do? Oh, that's interesting. I do this. And then 2-3 years down the line, you could message them and connect with them to find out like, oh, I'm looking to apply for a role in your company. Do you mind adding me as a referral? One of the game changers that I've done is, this is some real tea, guys. This is some real tea.
I love that.
So what I do is I always look for roles that hire for my skill set, even when I'm not looking for a job, because it tells me for my role, what are other companies looking for in addition to the skill set that I already have? So I'm just looking like Akamai WAF engineer, DDoS engineer. I look at, okay, what are other companies seeking for in addition to the skill set that I have? I identify that delta and I know that's where I need to upskill in.
What great advice.
So what I've been doing is like, I know for my skill set to be like ahead of the curve,
Yeah.
because maybe my role isn't embracing that yet, is I'll look at that delta and I'll start upskilling. So I know I need to learn AWS WAF. I know I need to learn Apogee, right? And
Yeah.
I know that just from looking at what jobs are being currently advertised, what's the delta between my skill set and that skill set, and leveraging that as, oh, this is where my work could be. Another game-changing tip is the peers that I've worked with, we've all gone on into our new roles. And I'm always asking, like, oh, how are you doing? And what are you learning in your role, right?
Yeah.
Because they'll move into another company. They're doing somewhat of the same role, but there might be little differences and nuances. And I use that to think, we're doing the same in this aspect, but this company is doing this a bit differently.
Yeah.
My company might be a little bit behind, but it might progress into that way anyway.
Yeah.
So let me get ahead of the curve and start learning these other skills that I'm seeing other companies are looking for within my type of role.
Yeah. Such good advice, because obviously most companies, unless they got loads of money, they may not innovate necessarily as fast. So by taking that external view is a really clever way of future-proofing your career. Do you know something? I've had the best time talking with you. So much information there and so many tips. So for those of you watching on One Tech World, Yemurai, aka STEM Babe, she's on Instagram, she's on YouTube, and she is changing the future generations of tech one woman at a time. It's been a delight. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.